I try to look for things now that I'm new into the investing game. I try to look for opportunities that interest is greater than the rate of inflation because that tells me I'm ahead of the game.
And so we are learning more and more about how to master money. Love that book.
Welcome. No, God is so good.
Things will change your life.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Mastering Money Mondays, where each and every week we infuse a topic that we all can use to transition us from one of being a debtor and or saver into being one of a wealth creator. I am Mr. Green. I am a retirement plan manager by day, and by night I am an investor and an entrepreneur.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cynthia Pete. I am a real estate investor. I am an IT project manager by trade, and I am your financial freedom fighter.
Awesome. So why do we have Mastering Money Mondays? Is really quite simple. The reason why we have this show, this podcast, is because we've been taught how to make money. Go get an education, get a good job, climb up the corporate ladder. We've been taught how to manage money. Okay, now that you're making some money, put it in a checking savings account, maybe even your retirement savings account, like a 401k or 403b. But we have not been taught how to master money. And that means multiplying the same dollar over and over again. So as Cynthia and I are learning from 7 and 8 figure earners, we have decided to not only share our financial journey, but bring you a part of this journey as well and pour into you the information that we have been learning along the way. So episode 15, y'all. Episode 15. First of all, make sure you like and subscribe. Tell your mama and them. Episode 15 is Make Interest Your Interest. So what is interest exactly? What is a simple way that we can really explain what interest is?
Yeah, so interest is basically the percentage that you get the return on your money. So if you invest $100 and the interest is 10%, I don't know where it's 10%, but the interest is 10%. And you invest $100, then you're going to get $10 interest payment on that investment. Now, the way we know interest is on our mortgage and on our car payment and on our credit cards.
Right.
So that's consumer interest, but we really need to shift to investments and understand interest that way as well. But that's a simple term.
Like that. So like what you said too about the shift, because that is a component and a key to mastering money, looking at things differently, right? Because interest is not necessarily always a bad thing,
Absolutely.
It can definitely be a good thing for you, especially if you are on the investor side, or you are just doing something as simple as saving, but just trying to find something that can get you a little bit more momentum or growth on your money. So Cynthia talked about interest, right? Let's talk about compounding interest. And there's a variety of ways that you can get compound interest. But basically what compound interest is in a simplified fashion, it's just stacking. Continue to stack on your money, right? So again, Cynthia used that $100 example. You get that 10% interest. Now you have 110, and then you roll that over from year to year. Now the interest, that 10% that you're being paid from year to year is being paid on, in this case, the $110 as opposed to the $100. So that compounding interest allows for your money to keep building and growing over time. So that's what compounding interest is. And there's a lot of different ways that you can acquire compound interest. One is in your retirement savings account. Another is through life insurance. I know that's a way that a vehicle that I put my money in to allow for interest to continue to grow or accumulate on the cash value portion of the life insurance policy. So talk about why, or can you think of some thoughts or ideas on why interest is, or at least knowing the interest is so important?
Absolutely. Like on one of our previous episodes, we talk about being a saver, right? And once you're a saver, you save up the money, but once you spend it, it's gone. So a mechanism that I use is I have a whole life insurance policy with a $10,000 cash value. Well, I use that $10,000 to pay my property taxes and insurance, right? And it's not quite $10,000, but there is always $10,000 growing at 3 point something interest. I borrow against it. I may borrow the whole 10,000 and to pay my property taxes and to pay my hazard insurance on my house. But there is still $10,000 that is growing interest in that account. So this is one way, that shift of making interest your interest. I always have $10,000 working for me. So I essentially take the $10,000 out, pay my property taxes and my hazard insurance because I have to pay it anyway. And then I just pay myself back. But at all times, that $10,000 is growing in interest. So, but when you put that in a savings account, once you take the money out, first of all, savings accounts,
Right.
the interest is not that high anyway. And then once you take the money out, you're no longer growing interest at that rate anymore because the money is gone. So that's one example how you make interest your interest.
Yes, and definitely you want to be interested too. Is one thing you can look at too is at least for me, what I'm learning, and I don't even know if this is the right or most appropriate way, is I try to look for things, now that I'm new into the investing game, I try to look for opportunities that the interest is greater than inflation, the rate of inflation, because that tells me, at least an indicator for me, that tells me that I'm ahead of the game, or at least my head is above water, right? So for me, I'm a real estate investor, and so I look for deals that are at least higher than the inflation rate, because again, I just want to be ahead of the game, and so making my interest allows me to construct those deals, or be more mindful of what type of deals that I want to construct as a result of that. I also want to talk about that consumer interest, right? Especially for people that have the credit cards and they're paying those credit cards and they're really not getting a lot of traction because the interest rates are so high. You're talking about 24, 25, 26% APR. I think making your interest is not only, using it, yes, as an investor, or how you're saving your money, where to put your money, but also what you're paying on as well, and make that your interest as well, so that you can start making appropriate shifts, like you were talking about, and changes with where your money is being housed, so that way, if you are challenged with debt, you can get out of debt sooner, because there may be opportunities for you available to you where you can move some of those balances that are on those high interest cards, for example, to smaller, to other cards or other avenues that have a smaller or lower interest rate. Because again, the more you're paying on interest, the more or the longer amount of time is going to take you to get out of that debt. So you want to not only make interest your interest from a growth perspective, but also make interest your interest from a perspective of how you can get out of some dire or significant financial strains. So I just want to make mention of that. So with that being said, Cynthia, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on over to you to go and close us on out.
Well, I always got one more point.
Always. Well, go ahead and hit it.
Always. So I just want to piggyback on the credit cards, right? Because right now, credit card interest rates are high because the feds have raised the interest rates to the max. And so when the feds raise those interest rates, in which they have, it makes money more expensive to borrow, right? This is why our mortgage interest rates are high. This is why your car interest rates are high, because when the feds raises the interest rate, it makes money more expensive to borrow, right? When they're low, as they were before COVID, people were buying houses, buying cars. Interest rates on houses were, I know somebody with a 2.3% on their interest rate on their mortgage, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to understand those dynamics. And so you understand what to do. So as the interest rate has raised on the credit cards, those interest rates have raised as well. So just to piggyback on you, sometimes it's better just to move that balance to, especially if you can't pay it off, move it to a new card with a lower interest rate. But the best thing to do is move it to a card that has a 0% introductory rate.
Right.
That way you can move the balance and you're not getting hit with that interest, and it gives you some time to pay off the card.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said there, because it's really all a numbers game. But you gotta understand the climate that you're in, because the
Yep.
climate, understanding the climate is going to allow for you to make better decisions
Yes.
with your money. So as
Yeah.
long as you understand the climate, you can make better informed decisions, and with those decisions, they can get you out of circumstances or even put you in better circumstances than what you were
Yeah.
in prior to. So
Definitely.
I'll turn that back over to you.
Okay, I'm really closing out this time. So guys, thank you for joining us. Make interest your interest. And in order to do that, you really need to understand how the economy works, how the Fed rates impact credit cards and mortgages and home loans all across the board, so that you can make an informed decision when these things occur in the economy. And we're doing more, because I think all we know how to do is just pay bills. Like,
Right.
and we complain, like, I know I complain about food, like food is so high. But if we understand the dynamics of the economy and how they're trying to balance everything,
Right.
then you can make better informed decisions. So guys, we come here every Monday, just to give you a tidbit to change your mind, to move from managing money to mastering money. Because once you master money, then you can dictate how you live, and not so much have a job dictate how you live. So anything else, Lonzy?
Nope, that's it. Until
All right.
we see you again, y'all take care.